Hello everyone and welcome back to the Recovery Channel. Please subscribe using the link in the lower right hand corner of the screen. This week is week 5 in our series and we're scheduled to start talking about step 2. But we're going to take a break from the steps this week and focus on something we all need, and that's sobriety. We've said many times before and we will continue to stress it's about serenity, not just abstinence. But serenity is impossible without sobriety. And early in recovery, we need a lot of help with that. So let's take a look at this and let's talk about some of the key things that help us stay sober. And hopefully, you can apply them in your recovery. I'm sure by now you've heard the expression, one day at a time. I used to see it on bumper stickers, street signs, all over. And I always wondered what it meant. Now, after a few 24 hours in a row, I understand that it's a key component to sobriety. All I have is this moment. The only day that matters is today. I only need to stay sober for the next 24 hours. I can do that, just 24 hours. My goal is to stay sober for a lifetime, 24 hours at a time. But all I need to worry about right now is today. It's so easy for our past to drag us down. Phil talked last week about how our childhood experiences have a huge impact on our mental health and our current behaviors. And with the most recent past, we might be weighed down by guilt and caught up in the cycle of shame. That's the stuff we're carrying around that we talked about earlier. That gets so heavy, we self-medicate. Or maybe we're just stressed out about the future. What's going to happen next? How am I ever going to get out of this situation? How will I ever provide for myself and my family? Will I ever get to see my kids again? Being in the recovery business, we talk to people about this kind of stuff all day. The past and the future, they can both pull us down into a state of mind where we feel the need to escape, to numb the pain, and numb the stress. But here's the thing. We can't go back and change the past as much as we'd like to. Best we can do is try to amend it, which we'll do in steps 8 and 9. We also have very little control over the future. If law enforcement or some other unpleasant agency is in your life right now, the best thing that you can do for yourself is to get sober and stay sober. Get a lawyer and do what you have to do, but beyond that, the only thing you have control over is your next right decision. The only moment that matters is the one you're living in right now. The only day that matters is today. And today, you're right here. You're present, and you're alive. Yesterday is gone. We'll get to tomorrow when it gets here. Don't worry about tomorrow, just today. That's the essence of one day at a time. All we need to do is get through that day, get through that moment. We don't need to worry about next month, next week, or even tomorrow. Just today. If we can do that every day, then before we know it, all those one days have turned into weeks, months, and years of sobriety. Personally, when I can just focus on the next 24 hours, the next right thing, I feel a lot of relief. Man, I can do anything for 24 hours. I can simply make the next right decision. Just one day. Just today. Now, in order to make those 24-hour stretches more doable, we need to build up our defenses. We need to be on guard for the unguarded moment. We need to stock that toolbox with everything we can. Our goal is to be prepared and have our defenses in place so that temptation, when it comes, we are ready for it and not scrambling for our lives. It's like eating right and taking vitamins to stay healthy rather than waiting until we're sick and then taking medicine. Prepare rather than react. Let's talk about some of those tools. Last week, Phil gave you tasks 1 through 4 on your spiritual plan of action. As a reminder, those are 1. Find a local or online 12-step meeting. 2. Attend 90 meetings in 90 days. 3. Distance yourself from people you act out with. 4. Safeguard your environment. Today, we're going to go through steps 5 through 7. Those are to establish an emergency plan, establish a daily routine, download the relapse prevention sheet. Let's break these down one at a time. Your emergency plan is a set of actions you'll take anytime you are tempted to act out. You'll keep some items in your toolbox, an envelope or other container you can get to easily. Phil's items in his toolbox that help him get back to a place of peace are a picture of his wife from happier times that remind him of what he stands to lose and what he's fighting to restore. I also have a letter I wrote to myself, reminding me of how bad I'm going to feel if I act out and how much better I'm going to feel if I don't. The context of your box is up to you. It's personal. The next thing to do is establish a daily routine. We'll call them dailies. Addiction thrives on chaos, uncertainty, and anxiety. If we can have a calming routine that we can count on every day, especially one that gets us centered on the current moment, our chances for a sober day increase a whole lot. I highly recommend doing your dailies first thing in the morning, first thing when you get up. If you think you don't have the time, get up 15 minutes earlier. Start off easy, just 2 or 3 things, and then you can add more later. You have one of them already, and that's to read your affirmations. Another good thing to do is journal. Just 5 to 10 minutes of writing your thoughts and feelings down. If you've got a higher power, pray, or just talk to your higher power. If you don't know your higher power yet, that's okay. We'll talk a lot about that next week. A few minutes of meditation is also a great way to get centered. We've provided some links in the comments if you need help with that. It's also important to make sure you eat in the morning, even if it's something small. It's amazing how much food helps our mental state. Finally, download the relapse prevention sheet in the comments. Every time you're tempted to act out, fill out the form instead. We're going to use this to start figuring out your triggers and what you're telling yourself, and build tools to combat those lies. Keep a copy in your emergency kit. Okay, well that's it for this week. We're keeping it short. Your homework is to do what we just talked about. So rewind a bit. Make sure you're getting your emergency plan in place and establishing your dailies. Next week, Phil's going to talk about the whole higher power thing and give us some more tools. See you then. And remember, recovery is possible. One day at a time. And that day is today.